Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap podcast from SNXweave, where we give quick weekly recaps of news and important updates from the previous week from the Spartan Council and core contributors, as well as discuss what the Grants Council and ambassadors are up to, so let's get started. In case you missed it, Synthetix announced the addition of Lido Finance's staked ETH as the latest asset for leverage trading on perps. This exciting new perpetual futures market was approved in SIP 2021 and had parameters set in SCCP 2015. Synthetix Perps is now the only protocol that supports staked ETH perps. No other decentralized or centralized perpetual futures protocol currently supports it. For a V3 work in progress update, the CCs have made some good progress on the developer section of the V3 docs. Auditors are focusing on the legacy market now, and the CCs are preparing to start the migration process once the market is live, while also processing auditor feedback as it comes in. The team is also focusing on deployment tooling and streamlining the process from governance to deployment as much as possible. A major update in V3 will hand full control of upgrades over to the Spartan Council. The vote will happen on-chain rather than snapshot, and the PDAO would assume a more risk review function rather than executing upgrades. Some additional tooling and UI upgrades are also in the plan to make the process more accessible to Spartan Council members. ML Sudo asked what the motivation was behind this change, and the main ones are improved decentralization, built out fully on-chain governance processes, and increased resistance to governance attacks. The top priority is now Perps v3. Some of the initial specs have been shared with integrators, and the interfaces should be ready to share this week. Conversations have also begun with existing integrators to make them aware of the changes in Perps v3. Lastly, as a teleporter update, the CCs executed a successful round trip of SUSD on testnet. They're currently waiting on Chainlink to deploy token pools on different networks such as Arbitrum to further test the functionality. Daniel asked how long it takes to deliver messages cross-chain, and Meb said it depends on the chain you initiate it from, and it's also based on different factors such as finality on the destination chain and riskiness. However, it only takes a couple of minutes on testnet as of now, not seconds due to the focus on security. There were also a few SIP presentations last week, so let's review each of them. The first was SIP 324 for a V3 SNX staking pool. Presented by Cav, this SIP proposes a V3 pool for SNX staking that does not have market exposure, with yield provided by an external source. It will basically create a new V3 pool, market, and rewards distributor contract that will all be owned by the Spartan Council. 30% of SNX is currently unstaked, so the goal of this SIP is to attract some of those users with yield, funded by the Treasury Council. It would not be exposed to markets, and would therefore incur less risk and would require less direct management. There was some skepticism as a few Spartan Council members brought up concerns during the presentation. Daniel wanted clarification on how to know this product would not compete directly with current staking offerings, and stressed that he wants to see actual numbers in order to make a decision. Danny added that the yield would have to be high enough to attract users away from Aave, which is currently yielding 3%. Daniel also asked what the Spartan Council's role would be in this process, and Cav explained that since it's a new pool, it would require governance approval to use the new V3 system. The consensus was to include the exact terms of this pool before the SIP would be put to a vote, and it may require a representation at that time. The next presentation was SIP 326 for additional pool configuration. This SIP introduces enhanced configurability for V3 pools by enabling pool owners to deactivate specific collateral types or define a more conservative C ratio. All pools currently inherit the system-wide configurations of permitted collateral types and C ratio. Cav explained that this SIP would give pool owners control to set collateral type and C ratio more conservatively if they wish to do so. They could, for example, increase the C ratio as much as they want, up to infinity, but not decrease it, or they could reduce the list of possible collateral, but not add to it. The last presentation was SIP 311 for SNX USD teleporters. This SIP, presented by Peter from Chainlink, proposes the addition of a cross-chain transfer function to the SNXUSD token. Leveraging cross-chain messaging, Synthetix is able to implement a highly efficient digital asset transfer via teleportation. In its simplest form, this entails burning SNXUSD on a source chain, sending a cross-chain message containing the amount burned, and minting the quantity of tokens on the destination chain. Peter gave a technical description of this process during the call. First, a user initiates a cross-chain message, including the destination chain. A router contract then receives the message and burns the asset on the source chain after confirming finality on the destination chain. This process is powered by two oracle networks, a committing oracle and an executing oracle. A totally separate active risk management network developed by a different team in a different programming language is constantly monitoring this process for anomalies, providing the ultimate layer of security. There's also rate limiting capability to limit the amount of exposure at any given time. This allows transfers to any chain the Spartan Council votes to deploy V3 on. Caleb asked what would happen if the fee changes in transit, and it was explained that smart execution functionality allows the sender to set a gas limit for the transaction. As long as the limit is above the destination gas price, the transaction will go through. Daniel asked if there would need to be additional oracles for each chain that V3 is deployed on to keep track of the debt, like in V2X. DB answered saying no, since V3 is set up such that the debt is managed at the pool level, and deployments to different chains would represent different pools in V3. The CCs are, however, looking into building cross-chain pools, but that feature would be separate and is not ready yet, but might be by Q3 or Q4 of this year. And that's it for today's updates. Be sure to check out our weekly recap blog post, share this podcast link, and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear more about from SNXweave. Thanks for listening.